Let's see here. Perfect, there we go. All right, so Hangout Meets for group discussions and virtual office hours. Let's get started with kind of what Hangouts Meets is and the purpose it serves. Hangouts Meet is an easy to join video call that allows you to connect virtually face-to-face with students. One of the great things about Hangouts Meet is it is easy. You don't need to set up an account or anything. You don't need to click through a number of options to set up a video call. It's really just as few clicks as possible to get started and get going. With Hangouts Meet, you can create and share meetings with just a few clicks. You can record your meetings and then share them through Google Drive with students so that they could watch them afterwards. Much of our work is going to be asynchronous with students having various schedules, maybe having to help out with childcare at home and things like that. And so it'll be good for them to be able to access information when they have time, not necessarily when we're giving the information. You can also create a live stream event if that's of any interest for you. And then you can use video meetings to target small group instruction. So you can invite just a few students and go through some targeted teaching strategies just with them, and then move on to another small group of students. So much like we could do in the classroom. Let's go through how to schedule a video meeting in Calendar. And then we'll talk about scheduling a video meeting right from the Meet website. So I would definitely recommend using Calendar whenever possible. Now I have my calendar up here. Everyone can see this? Thumbs up if you can. Perfect, okay. So I have my calendar here. If I want to schedule a Hangouts Meet for tomorrow to check in with my students, I'm just going to create a new event in Calendar. So I'll go from 9 to 10. I'm sorry, my computer might be running a bit slow with doing the recording as well. And I'm just going to call this check-in / morning meeting. Now, if I have my students' email addresses, it would be great to put my students' email addresses directly into the guest list right here. What I might suggest you do is have your students' email addresses in a list or even in a spreadsheet where you could just select them all, copy and paste in here. This makes it really easy so that students get an email invitation, which has the information that you provide as well as a link to the Meet. So they just have to click and go to that Meet. The other thing you want to turn on here is conferencing. So here it says add rooms, location, or conferencing. Click that once and then click add conferencing. And this automatically creates a unique link for your Hangouts Meet. This is what will be shared with any of the guests, but you can also just copy, Command-C, Control-C, copy and paste this into an email or into Google Classroom or even a remind message. You can copy this entire link, and then that way, when you share it, you can send it out to students and they can just click that link and they'll be right there to join your Hangouts Meet. So let's have this one here. But let's say I also wanted to do an afternoon check-in. So when I create an afternoon check-in, let's say at 1 o'clock tomorrow. There we go. So afternoon meeting. When I click add conferencing, just like I did with my previous one, I want you to notice that, I know the screen's a little bit small here. I'll see if I can zoom in. There we go. So this Hangouts Meet link ends BFD. I'm going to save this. This morning Hangouts Meet link ended PQM. So the two links are not the same. So this is one thing to notice. One thing to be aware of is if you decide to create separate events without doing one more step, each Hangouts Meet will have its own link and students will need to know which link to use at which time. However, if you want students to always use the same link, and you might just post this as material in Google Classroom so that they always know what link to use. They might even bookmark the link so that they can use it. What you can do is you can copy the link from our first one in the morning, and we can paste it into our second one. So this is how we do that. Right at the end here for our morning meeting, there's the copy conference link to clipboard. So I'm going to copy that. And then down in my afternoon meeting, I'll click on that. So here I am in my afternoon meeting. I'm going to click Edit Event. And then right in the middle where I have my Hangouts Meet information, there's a drop-down arrow to view conference details. By clicking that, I can move over to my meeting ID, and there's an Edit button. Click Edit, and then paste with Command V or Control V. And there we go. Now that meeting ID is the same one that I used for the morning. And so I'm going to save that here. And now this link that is for both of my meetings, I'm going to put that in a space where my students can always access it. And it really doesn't matter when they're wanting to do the Hangouts Meet, when we've set something up, it's always the same link. This is good for another reason as well. I should mention, this is the way that we've set up the help desk hours for teachers for this week. We use the same link so that no matter which one you're signing up for, you always click the same link. Hangout Meet links are still active when everyone leaves. So this is something to be aware of. Students can click the link, and if more than one student clicks the link, they'll see each other and they can talk to each other, even without the teacher or the conference or the meeting organizer being there. So teachers don't own this link. Students can continue to use this. Now, students could video call in many ways. They could video call on FaceTime or Facebook Messenger or Google Duo or many other apps. And so the ability for them to do this is ubiquitous. However, if we're worried about students being able to do that, what I would suggest is not talking about it. Students will probably discover on their own that ability exists. But I would suggest spending this week, when you're talking with students, talking about digital citizenship, responsible and respectful etiquette online, things to do, mentioning that, whether they're on Hangouts Meet or any other app, there are appropriate ways to engage with others and respectful ways to engage with others. So I think that's a key opportunity for us this week, this month in particular. If you choose to use the same link over and over again for all of your interactions with students, that means that there's less opportunity for that Hangouts link to be used when you're not there, because you're going to be often on it with students. So that's how to create a Hangouts Meet through Calendar. I'm going to go through how to create a Hangouts Meet on the Meet website, and then we'll pause for some questions. So a second way to create a Hangouts Meet is to go to meet.google.com. When you go there, this is how easy it is to start a meeting. Now, mine, because I'm logged in, it's showing me that I already have this call happening, and I can click to join it here. But I could join or start a new meeting as well. So to create a new meeting, I can click the link. I can enter a nickname if I want, like morning meeting. And I think it's going to take out the space when I click continue. And it's just getting ready here. The nice thing about this as well is it kind of shows you what it looks like, and you can toggle on and off your microphone or camera before you log on, and then you can click join now. You can also see if anyone else is here. And sure enough, right up here, morning meeting, it took out the space. But other teachers and staff within St. Albert Public Schools can join this meeting either with the link that is created, or they can just go to meet.google.com and type in the same nickname, and they'll be able to join. Students, however, cannot use the nickname. Even though 5565.ca is a subset of spschools.org, the way that Hangouts Meet is set up, they can't use that nickname. So it's not a lot of use for us to use that nickname with students. When I click Join Now, it's immediately going to show me some options that I have to share this info with other students. So here's my link right here. I can copy that and paste it into an email or classroom or message or what have you. There's also information if they're calling in by phone or something like that. And I can also click the copy joining info, and that just copies the information I need, and I can paste that into an email. Alternatively, I can add people right from here as well. I can click add people, and I can just type in their emails, or if I've communicated with them before by email, I can start typing their name, and like our Gmail, it'll populate a list of options. I'm just going to close this one because I see my computer starting to slow down a little bit. And I'm going to stop presenting my screen and just see if we have any questions at this point. There we go. Sarah, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering about what your thoughts are for the best way to do this with grade 3s. Like, are you thinking it's best to, because we have parent email lists and we're going to be sending them stuff, you know, with what we're doing for the week. Do you think it's best to just copy the link and send that to the parents to invite the students, or just get into it with the kids getting their own email invite?
I think I might, with younger students up to grade 3, I think I might send out that communication to parents with both options. And depending on the savviness or know-how of the students and what the, what's been set up at home for them, leave that option available. The other thing that I think I would do with primary classes is I would focus my primary communication on like creating video that I share with them, like a morning meeting video where we talk about the day, and then I share a document that talks about some different activities that they could engage with, and then save the Hangouts Meet for optional times. Like if you're available now, come and check in, and you know what, maybe on Tuesday morning we're going to talk about language arts stuff, and then Wednesday morning we're going to talk about math stuff, that sort of thing. Does that help? Okay. What other questions do you have before we get to customizing video meetings? Yeah, go ahead, Sage. Sorry, Sage. Yeah.
I think I have 2 questions. What is the advantage of having different links versus using the same link?
I can't think of any advantage to having different links. The way I've set up the help desk and the way I would encourage teachers to set up their kind of office hours or meeting times with students, I would encourage them to use the same link there for the reasons that we talked about Hangouts still being available even if you're not there and so forth. I can't think of any benefits to setting up different links unless maybe with older students, I was having 2 different groups of students meeting at the same time. I might give each a different link, and then I could kind of log into both of them to check in. Does that make sense?
Like if I'm teaching different high school classes, do I give them all the same link, or does each class get their own link?
So chances are you're going to, you're never going to have the same class meeting at the same time, right? I think my initial thoughts would be just use the same link for all of them. And again, that eliminates the times when you're not there in the link and students could be there by themselves. And then it also just makes things simpler for you. You don't need to kind of figure out, okay, which link do I use for this class?
Because the link is just a portal into the computer. So it's just a way, it's like a phone number, right? Just to get contact to me. And then
exactly.
My last question, am I misunderstanding something? The difference between Hangout Meets and another kind of meets? Was there 2 types of meets?
So there's not 2 types of meets. Google has two apps. One is kind of more for businesses and conference calls called Meet. And then the other one that they had, that they still have, is called Hangouts. And Hangouts is more for personal Gmail accounts. Anyone can create a Hangout, but only G Suite accounts and business accounts can create a Meet. They're starting to merge both of these together, and they're calling it Hangouts Meet. But that merge is kind of in progress right now. Hangouts has a few limited features as well. You can't have as many people on a Hangout, you can't record a Hangout, and so forth. And so we call it Hangouts Meet or just Meet.
How many people can I invite into a Hangout at once?
Hangouts Meet, what we're using, you can invite up to 250 participants. If you're live streaming where people are not participating, they're just viewing, it's up to 1,000. Any other questions before we go into customizing? All right, so there are a few customization options that you have. And for this, I'm going to share my screen here. Sorry, bear with me one moment. There we go. So you should be able to see me right now, see me presenting my screen. And you should be able to see that, when I hover near the bottom, you can see that I could have these options to mute, leave the call, or turn on and off my camera. And I have my meeting details over here. And I can't see you right now, but let me just pull someone up. And Sage, give me a thumbs up if you can see those things that I was talking. Okay, perfect. All right. So one thing that you notice is that when I pull up the People tab over here, let me just click out of here. When I click on the People tab, I can have a list of everyone in the call. And when I click on a person's image or video, that pins their video to the screen. So I can pin Ellen's here, which is just an E, Katie's, Sage's, and Sarah's, and so forth. So I can navigate through. This doesn't change what other people see. This only changes what I see and I'm able to see. And you can see it right now just because I'm presenting my screen. The other option that you have is to change layout. So I'm gonna navigate back to me here. And if I just click on the screen here, I can change my layout by going way down into the bottom right corner and clicking the More ellipses. This is where I started the recording. Now it says stop recording if I want to stop. I can also change the layout. And so the three layout options that you have are a sidebar, where it will show you, let's see here, there we go. So it has a main screen for what is being presented, and then a sidebar with everyone's images down the side here. Another option is Spotlight. So this is where we would have one screen right in front. And again, I can pin a specific screen to the front if I want. And then a third option is Tiled. And in this way, I can have more than one screen in a larger view. And I think I can still pin certain ones to, well, maybe not. Well, when I pin it, it just takes over the whole screen here. So those are a few of the ways to customize. We talked about pinning, muting, sorry, not muting, but we talked about the screen layouts. Now, as a person who owns the calendar event, or as the person who created the meeting, you have the ability to mute other people. And so if I click on the people setting again, everyone is already muted. But if I needed to mute someone, let's say a student really wasn't able to either find the mute button, or they just needed a little bit of help, let's say getting control, self-control, you can click the down arrow beside that person, and there's a mute button right there in the middle. You can mute them, you can't unmute them, and so the participant would have to unmute themselves. Here's that pin button, which works the same way as just clicking on the participant's view. And there's also a remove button. So as the teacher who has created the meet, or as the calendar event owner, you can remove participants. However, participants cannot mute or remove each other. They can only do that to themselves, not to other participants. And finally, for customizing video meets, you can present. So right now I'm presenting my screen, and I did that by clicking down where it says present. Right now mine says you are presenting. And when I click it again, I can stop presenting. Now, when I am presenting, when I click this, and let me just try to get into another meet here so that I can show you the options that are there. I'm just going to start a new meeting. Thanks for your patience as my computer catches up. I'm going to click join now. This is another meet that no one is in right now, just myself. But when I click the present now button at the bottom, I can either present my entire screen or a window. And let me just check back here. And Sage, do I see you here? Sage, thumbs up. Did you see my other window? Oh, when I click over here to show you the present options, are you seeing that okay? Okay, perfect. All right, so you can present your screen or a window. Now, if you plan on going to different parts, different applications, your desktop, even opening new windows for Chrome, I would choose the entire screen. If you're just going to stay within Chrome, you could just present a window. You can still go to other tabs, even though you're in that Chrome window, and those will still be shared as well. Finally, I will mention the captions as well. Captions are pretty neat because this helps with students who are who might need a little bit of visual support as well as audio support or auditory support. And let's just see here. When I turn on captions, this allows Google's magic of AI technology to be able to translate what I'm saying. And I'm just going to click here so that it gets rid of the window below. There we go. And maybe not. I just wonder how to get rid of this bottom part here. That's me. I can't really see it. Maybe I just have to stop moving my mouse for a bit until that bottom, there it goes. Now, it's not an exact science, but it does help a little bit. And it works actually pretty slick, better than I would expect anyway. I'm going to turn captions off here. All right, let's talk about broadcasting a meeting. We talked about recording a meeting, but if you want to create a live stream for a meeting, you can do that back in Calendar. So I'm going to present my Calendar screen again. There we go. So we're back on my Calendar, and to create a live stream, I need to use Calendar to do this. Just give me one moment here. There we go. Let's go back to my morning meeting, and let's say that I wanted to do this as a live stream where students could just click a link and view it without participating, but they could view it. So this might provide If you're worried about students kind of hijacking the Meet conversation and kind of interrupting or have you, you could share it as a live stream. To do that, I'm clicking my morning meeting event that I've already created, and I'm going to click Edit. I've already added conferencing here, but you'll notice when I click to view the conference details that there's a button at the bottom that says Add Live Stream. Doing so will create a new link for the live stream event. Now this one here, I'm not sure about reusing the link over and over. So that's a consideration in terms of using live stream. For live stream, you're going to need to create a second calendar event that is view only, and that's the link that you'll share with students to join the live stream. So here I have my live stream. I'm going to click Save. And now I'm going to click this event again and click the More options or the More ellipsis. Doing so, you'll notice that I have an option here that says Create Live Only Event, or View Only Event, rather. By creating this View Only Event, it's basically all the same information, but it has live stream at the top. Now, any students that I want to be able to join this and have a look at it, but not participate in it, just view it, I can add their information in the guests list right over here. I can put their emails in, or I can copy the link information for this view only and email or share Google Classroom or something like that. When I click Save, I'll see both events in my calendar. One, the original one, says check-in morning meeting, and we can see watch the live stream here. In the live stream option, this is a view only event, and this is just the watch live stream. So this is the link that we will have students who are not participating, just viewing. To start a live stream, I'm going to click back to my original event and click Join Hangouts Meet. So not watch live stream, but join Hangouts Meet, because it still all operates through the Hangouts Meet. And if I'm to participate, if I'm to speak in it and have some control, I need to join through Hangouts Meet. When I click Join Now, I'll have a new option in the More ellipsis button at the bottom. So going down here to the More ellipsis, and you can see it right at the top. It prompts me start streaming. But just in case it didn't prompt to start streaming, I could click this More ellipsis, and right here it has start streaming as well. So this would create that kind of live stream. It's a little safer, I think, and a little more controlled than a YouTube live stream, because YouTube, it's hard to create YouTube videos or live streams where it's not open to the whole wide world. Although one isn't password protected, it is a unique link that you would need to share in order for someone to know what link to go to and have access to. Now, just like with any other Hangouts Meet, you can still record this call and have all the other customization options with it. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is setting up virtual office hours. We've already talked about bits and pieces, but I'll talk more about that. Before I do, are there any questions about any of the information that's come up so far? And sorry, I can't see anyone at the moment, so go ahead and...
Can I ask a question? Sorry, I have a lot of questions all the time. I wasn't able to see how you captured your whole screen.
Ah, I see.
You went down. You went down to the more options, and I don't.
Are you saying when I presented my screen so that you could see it all? Yeah. So let me share that here. All right. So you can see my screen right here. I can't do it here because when I click here, it only has stop presenting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up into a new tab. Sage, can you still see this new tab?
I can. Maybe I can't see how to do this because I'm not in control of this meeting, right? So is the person who's presenting, if they go to those little options, it'll pop up, I imagine, or?
Yes. Do you have an option to present on yours? Does it say at the bottom?
No.
Present now?
If you look at the bottom, like I see that Cam is presenting, but right where that icon is where you would be able to choose for you to present if you're the one leading the meeting, I think.
Like, well, yeah, when I click that you're presenting, then it says present your entire screen. Okay, so that's where I go, not the 3 dots. Understood.
Yes.
Next up, the captions. Is that only for English language?
I believe it's only for English. I don't think there's any other language support at this time.
Okay, no problem. And then the live stream, can you see what students have logged in? Will it tell you who is logged into the live stream, or do you not? You won't have a way of knowing?
That's a good question. I think that just like in a Hangout, it shows you a list of students down the side, or a list of participants down the side. And I believe that that would show you not only who is a participant, but also who is logged in for a view only. Okay. Do you want to test that out right now?
Sure. So the live stream is sort of like I could make a video and attach it, and they would just view it. And then, is that what it is?
A live stream would be, I think if you're going to create a video that you want them to have access to, and you don't need them to be there at the moment, I would use another app called Loom, which is a really slick app, and we'll talk about, there's some help desk meets set up later in the week to do that. But a live stream might be more helpful for if you're co-teaching with someone, or you're having a presentation with someone, and so there's more than one participant that is interacting via Hangout, so in different places, not necessarily in the same room, but then you also want students to be able to see that, but not have any more control other than just viewing it at the time. Okay. Does that clarify things a bit?
Yeah, so it's not going to be saved. Like what you make, and you make it in that calendar, they can't go and view it 2 days later. It's over.
Yes, it's over, but you can record it and then share that afterwards.
Yeah, but if you so it's more live stream. If I understand, it's more of a one-way delivery. It's not as engaging. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's all for my questions. Thank you, Cam.
No problem. Why don't we move on to office hours? And I'm going to stop presenting this screen, and I'm going to go back to my calendar. As we've done, many things are easily organized through calendar. And here we go. All right, so back on my calendar here, I have already set up a morning meet and an afternoon meeting. Now let's say that for my entire week, 9 to 10, I'm gonna have that meeting available. And then in the afternoon, 1 to 2, I'm gonna have that meeting available. And again, if I'm teaching multiple classes, maybe they just sign in on particular days or afternoons, but it's always the same link. And that way it organizes it very easily for me and for my students. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go into my morning meeting, and I'm gonna click edit. And I want this to repeat every morning. So up here where it says does not repeat, I'm just going to say that it's going to repeat, excuse me, every weekday, Monday to Friday. Now, if I wanted to further customize that, I could click this and go to custom. And in this case, I can toggle on and off days. And I can even say when it will end, or after how many occurrences it will end. For our purposes here, I'm just going to leave those as is. So this is going to repeat Monday through Friday, every weekday, and it's starting tomorrow. So I'm going to click Save. And now we'll see that this meet is happening every day. Now, I just want to check one thing, because I did create that live stream, if you remember. And when I created that live stream, it changed my Hangouts Meet code. So I'm going to have to go back and make sure that Hangouts Meet code is the same thing. So I'm going to go to my afternoon meeting. There it was, that code there. I'm going to copy it from my afternoon. I'm going to go back to my morning meeting, click Edit, click the Viewed Conference Details. And just like we did at the beginning of our session today, I'm going to click Edit here and paste in that other code from my afternoon meeting. And there it is. And I'm not going to add a live stream. It's just going to be this meeting here. Now, it's still set up to repeat weekly on weekdays. So when I click Save, it's going to ask me, do you want this link only for this event, or for this event and all the following events? Or let's say I was doing this tomorrow or the next day. Do I want it for all events, even the ones in the past? So I'm just going to click All Events and click OK. And now that check-in for tomorrow morning has the code ending PQM, just like the afternoon. My check-in for tomorrow, same thing, PQM. So I have my morning meetings set up. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my afternoon meetings. I'll click afternoon meeting, click Edit, and where it says does not repeat, I'm going to say repeats every weekday, and then click Save. There we go. So I have my morning check-ins, I have my afternoon check-ins. They're all set up, and they all have the same Google Meet link, so that I can paste that link in Classroom or wherever students can bookmark it. They always know what to click in order to get there. Now, in terms of communicating this with my students so that they could sign up, I have a couple of options. One way to do this would be Google Doc. So I've created a Google Doc here, sign up for office hours, and I would probably do it a week at a time so that students maybe on either the Friday before or over the weekend or even Monday morning, they can have a look and they can plug in their names wherever they want it. So I have sign up hours for the week, and I did this last week, so that's why it says March 23rd to 27th. And then down the side here, I have a 9 to 10 o'clock. And when I had done this before, I had some more options, a 10:30 to 11 and so forth. I even color coded it and put a subject heading at the top. So if you're teaching different classes, you might have class headings, or if you're teaching in elementary school, you might have subject headings or even specific topic headings. Maybe you have a project and this meet is only for that project. Now, if you share this document where students can have edit access, they can easily just click into the table and type their name. And then you can see at a glance who is signed up for each meet. In this case here, I've kind of limited it to 5 at a time, and that way I can ensure that it really is a productive meet and I don't have too many at once. At the top here, you'll want to paste the link for the meet. So it says, click this link to join our Hangouts Meet on the day and time you've signed up. So this was from a previous one that I was editing. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to paste the one that I had copied from before. And if I press space on a Google Doc after I type in or paste a link, it will automatically change that into a hyperlink so that students can just click it and visit that link. Okay? So that's a Google Doc way of setting up office hours for the week. Alternatively, you might want to use a Google form. So in this case here, I've set up a Google form in much the same way where I have office hours, and in the information at the top, I say, let's find a time to check in about your learning and schoolwork. More than one person can sign up for each time. So just letting them know it's not a one-on-one type thing. Click this link to our Hangouts Meet on the day and time you've signed up. So again, here I'm going to put in that new link that matches my calendar. And then I've just set up a grid here where students will be able to check off Monday each day what time they've set up. Now, again, these times were created when I did another example, and so I'd want to make sure that these times match what I've set up on my Google Calendar. You could, when using a form, ask them to select which subject they'd like to focus on, and even specify which items to discuss. And this is a great one to have as well, especially for checking in with students when we're working remotely, is just a little question: how are you feeling? What's working well? What's been challenging? Just so you have a bit more information to continue to maintain and even build that relationship with students. So let's take a look at what this form might look like for a student filling it out. So I've set this up to automatically collect the email address, so students can get right in here. It records their email address so that I have that information. Maybe to meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with my teacher at different times, and Friday, no, I can't do anything on Friday. And so then we can add a subject here, let's say English and math. Now, because it's not linked to a specific day, that allows me as the teacher to take a look and see, oh, there's a lot of people on Tuesday morning and they all want to do language arts at some point, so we could use time for language arts. We could have items to discuss, so maybe reading, assignment, and fractions. And then I can click submit here. Now, on the teacher side, when I'm in my form, I can click the responses tab at the top here. And this allows me to see who has responded. And I can even take a look at individual responses. But even more informative is this sheet that's been created. So I can click the Google Sheet, and I can kind of see at a glance which students have responded, when they would like to meet. So this is the Monday column, this is the Tuesday column, this is the Wednesday column, and so forth. Even I have that information about what subject they want to focus on and what items they want to discuss. Now, if I've set this up, I could actually take a look, and I see that on Monday at 9 to 10, and for our purposes here, actually, why don't we say on Tuesday, 9 to 10, we have these 3 students here. And what I can do is I can copy their email addresses just by selecting them in the sheet and pressing Command or Control C. And then I can go back to my calendar. Oh, here we go. And tomorrow morning, 9 to 10, I could click into this specific event. Oh, that would be Tuesday rather, not Wednesday. So Tuesday morning, 9 to 10, I could click into this event and I could paste in the emails. Now the emails are all mine because I was filling out that form, but as this is just to demonstrate that you can paste in emails from a spreadsheet just by pressing Command C on the spreadsheet and then Command V on the calendar event. When you press enter, it adds those names. I'll show you that one more time with different addresses. So let's take these fictitious student 1 to 3 at 5565. I'll go back to my calendar and add those ones as well and press return. And all of those email addresses are added in there so that those students will get an invitation by email with the date, time, and the link to the Hangouts Meet. And the other beneficial thing about this is I could add in the description is, today we're going to talk about ELA and your reading assignment. Come with questions. I could also click the add attachment here to, if there's a particular doc or file that I want them to have access to, I could add that in here. So let's say it was this document here. Now the only thing is, when I click save and send those invitations, I don't want to save it for all my events. I just want to save it for this one event. And that way, on Tuesday morning at 9 to 10, only these students will get this information, and they'll have this document as well that I've attached. When I click OK, because I have students who are in 5565.ca, it's going to ask me, when I hit send, it's going to verify, are you sure you want to send it to them? They're outside your organization. And I can say, yes, invite external guests. And it's also going to ask me, do you want to share this file with those students? And I can click invite, or I can click don't give access, but obviously I put it there for them to have access. So I'll click invite. The last thing that I want to show is that, and actually you should be able to see this on your screen. So on your screen, if you go to the bottom left corner where it says meeting details and click the up arrow, oh, actually it probably doesn't have any attachments. Does it have an attachment there for you? No, it doesn't, hey? Okay, that's curious because I did put in an attachment there. But normally there would be a way for the students to access those attachments right away just by clicking meeting details and then attachments. So it would be emailed to them, but they would also have that in the Hangouts Meet. So that in a nutshell is kind of how to set up virtual office hours and a way to work with the Hangout meeting links and even get students to sign up and so forth. Before I give you a bit more information about where to find more resources and how to access this recorded video, what questions do you have?
Hi, I have a question.
Sure.
I teach at Belrose, and I have set up office hours on my Google Calendar that I added to the calendars for my Google Classrooms, thinking that the kids could access their calendar on Google Classroom to hit the link, the hyperlink that's in the event details and connect. But I had a lot of students have trouble with that it didn't actually show up in they had to go into like the separate calendar and not the calendar that's embedded in Google Classroom. And I was wondering if you knew, because some of the students had a lot of trouble connecting that first time. And so I was wondering if you knew how I could get the Google Classroom calendar to show the events that show in my calendar.
Right, absolutely. And so when you set them up in your calendar, did you select the Google Classroom calendar?
Yes.
Okay. And when students are clicking the Google Classroom link in Classroom, it opens up into their own Google Calendar. Is that right?
Yes. Like, can I show you what I did?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I hope it's working. Is this working?
It is. Yeah, this is great.
Okay. So cancel that because okay. So so when I go in to keep, but the kids don't have this calendar here. Like this is where it shows up.
Yeah.
But the kids only have this calendar here. And it doesn't show up.
Oh.
And that's the problem that I was having with them, is that here it doesn't show up. And so a lot of them could get to this calendar, but then there were no events there.
I'm just checking something on my end here.
Okay.
Now, I just went into a Google Classroom of which I'm a student, not a teacher. And when I click the classwork tab, I do see a link for Google Calendar.
Okay. It's not there if a kid is on a phone, though.
Oh, I see. So,
sorry, I didn't clarify.
No, that's okay. So depending on the device that they're using. It's Adrienne, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Adrienne, would you mind if I had a look into this and then contacted you this afternoon?
Sure, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for that question, because you're right, on different devices, it's going to look a little different, even with Hangouts Meet and things like that. And oftentimes there are ways to find it, but it's not the same as on a computer.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's as seamless as it can be.
For sure, yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank
so
you
I'll
so
look
much.
into that, yeah, and I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
What other questions did you have before we go through where to access some more how-tos? Yeah, Sarah?
I just had a question on your thoughts regarding holding office hours that, you just go into like Google Hangout Meet and you're hanging out there and people can jump in, ask questions, jump out. Like I'm talking students and parents.
Right. I think that as I answer this, we're going to have to do some experimenting. And my initial thought is that sounds like it's a good idea, right? Just having those office hours and not saying you have to join by 9 o'clock, but I'm available from 9 to 10:30. And whenever you have time in that span of time, dial in and check with me. As the creator of the Google Meet, you will be able to see who's in there. And so Google Meet video calls are encrypted. And so we don't need to worry about other people getting access to this. And we can see who has dialed in so that, if we need to talk about something else or we need to change the conversation, we can, right? Does that make sense? As far as sharing it with parents, the only hesitation I have is around, let's say you do have some students and then another student's parent comes in. I would, at the time, just say, you know what, can you dial, I would ask the parent, can you rejoin the meeting at such and such a time? And then I'll be able to talk just with you, that kind of thing. I wouldn't carry on a student conversation with parents there as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Of course I have questions. Kind of piggybacking on that question, like I think in the beginning, I don't know if I'll make specific hours of like each student signs into a slot quite yet, but kind of like Sarah, what you're saying, sort of keep it open and see what it looks like. Yeah. But can I manage that? So if it's open and there's like one kid that wants to talk, cool. But if there's 15 of them, can I message them in a sidebar and say, message me in half an hour, or if I want to talk one-on-one? And do I also have the option of going, oh, can I invite a few more people in on this chat? Like, can you make it like that?
What you can do is you can use the sidebar chat window to get the messages out to everyone in the call, not just to certain individuals. But I think I would manage it in that way, either using the chat window or just in a video call itself, just saying student A, B, and C, rejoin at this time, student D, E, and F, rejoin at this time, and that way just to manage it better, because it can get overwhelming easily if you get beyond about 5 students.
Yeah, so when they request me to pick up their video call, I can decline. It's not just going to interrupt. I can manage that.
If you've shared your Hangouts Meet link, and let me rephrase that, if you've set up a calendar event and you've added those student emails in the guest list, they don't need to request to join, they can just automatically join. If you've sent out just the link, I believe when students join, they're going to have to type in their name and request to join, and then a window will pop up for you saying such and such is requesting to join, and you can either accept or reject their request to join. For
each conversation, for each day, like if every day is different, every day I can accept them or not?
That's right, yeah.
So to clarify that one, that was just send the link. Don't make office hours, just send the link and then I'll make request, okay. And also this Google form, I'm unfamiliar with it. Is that something maybe we can do another one of these sessions on later?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll point you to some how-to videos about forms, but absolutely we can connect and go through a form together as well. So the last thing that I'll leave you with is kind of how to find some more information to continue this, and that's a great segue talking about forms here. I'm going to share my screen once more. There we go. All right, so 2 ways to get more information. One is to continue to be a part of our help desk meetings as they occur later on in the week. And as we just talked about setting up office hours, the same link will be used for all of our meets this week. And I can see that these topics progressing and evolving week after week as we become more familiar with these tools, but then have questions about other ones. So please feel free to join any of the meets here. This one has been recorded and it will be shared in our intranet. And so we now have a school intranet where you can log in and access how-to videos and other information. To do so, you're going to go to our district website. And if you were there this morning or if you were there over the weekend, you'll see that it has a brand new look to it. It looks very much like our other new school websites. And so this is what it looks like here. All the information is there, just in slightly different places. The place that you're going to want to go to for the intranet is the staff login at the top. So when you click staff login, you can either sign in with Google if you're already signed into your browser, or you can type your first name, last name, and your password, just like you would be signing into PowerSchool, for example. So I'm going to click Google here and sign in with Google. And I'm sure it doesn't help that I have all these tabs open at the moment. The place you're going to want to look is the left-hand menu bar. And you see all the same menus that are available to the public, but the staff information one is only available when you log in with your staff ID. So click Curricular Services, and you'll be able to find a variety of resources and tools that will help us out as we're navigating these distance learning environments. The ones I've been talking about fall within educational technology, but the rest of the Curricular Services team are working on lessons, resources, templates, and samples that are there for you to access as well. This is a site that is just beginning, and so check frequently because we're going to continue to add more and more resources. By clicking on educational technology, you will have access to 4 different menus of tools. Tools for collaboration are about student-to-student collaboration and kind of hearing other people's ideas and working that way. It includes the G Suite apps like Docs and Slides and Google Forms, and it also includes another app called Flipgrid, which is a video app that you can use for students to make quick videos and share their ideas. So by clicking a menu open, there's links for how-to videos within each section. So Sage, when you asked about the forms, where was it here? Here we go. There's a whole section on how-to videos for forms that you can refer to, but we can also definitely set up a one-on-one hangout as well to go through that. The ones that we just went through refer to group discussion. And so Hangouts Meet is there. And there's a bunch of videos that go through a lot of the information that we just went through. So if you need a refresher as well, this recording will be shared in the intranet. Another tool that you might want to use is Jamboard. That's a whiteboard tool to use virtually since we don't have in-person whiteboards, and it's kind of hard to write on a whiteboard behind you while you're taking a video. So Jamboard might be a tool that you might want to use. Tools for learning management are Google Classroom. And so there's how-to videos there. And then finally, tools for one-to-many. There's Hangouts Meet, just like we talked about, because you can use that for many, like live streaming and so forth. But Loom is another great tool, and we have another Hangouts Meet scheduled, I think, tomorrow for Loom. Apart from that, I just want to leave you with the idea that remember to proceed with curiosity as we engage with online learning. This is going to be a time for experimenting and a time for mistakes, and mistakes just ask our students to do every day. And I know that if our hearts are in the right places, then and we have that humility, then this is going to be a great experience for all involved. Finally, send me an email whenever, even if you don't want to log on to a Hangout or can't. Just send me an email and I'm happy to respond as soon as possible. If you have any other questions, now's a good time. Otherwise, we're a little bit over and I apologize for that. But if you're all done, you can definitely hang up and I'll talk to you a bit later.
Thanks so much, Ken.
My pleasure. Thanks, Sage. Bye, Sarah.
Bye. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks, Diane.